The Lord was going to use it for His good, and so as trying as it was, He really called me to learn His spiritual warfare differently. He said your spiritual tools are going to be worship and praise. And every time my mom would say something, I had to run into my bedroom and praise my way out of it, or thank my way out of it, or cry. I mean, I was human too. It was because it was so hard because her words were wounds, like daggers.
Right.
That's what she knew. She didn't know any different. It wasn't. I always understood that, but it's hurt. And I was 24/7, and so it was around my kids, and it was towards my husband, and it was everything was negative. And why are you doing this? And you think this, and the Holy, And so.
So it was a lot of religion, and there's mental instability at the same time.
Yeah, and the Lord had to show me how to release her voice was a stronghold in my life. And I could break that off before I moved in the house. And He said, this will either be a house of rest or a house of arrest.
That's when you flew to me. That's when you flew to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I flew to my cousin to get away. And the Lord broke the stronghold of my mom. So He took me all the way back to the wounds in the womb from my mom. And He showed me how He's redone that. And I had studied like sozo healing. So I understood like Jesus coming into memories. And so He had to rewire some things before I went and moved in. But I had to learn a whole different new set of tools of warfare, in a sense. And it wasn't in striving and fighting. It was in standing firm. Praising and thanksgiving were the biggest things He told me.
So where throughout all of this process did we meet, and then the freedom come from there?
Because I was removed from the church, I had heard we had been on staff for 8 years. And then I heard after I was away from the church about this Monday night group that met. Like it was almost like a secret group that they would like operate more in the spirit, those deeper things. And I was like, wait, what? Because I had been silently doing it on my own. And I'm like, in our church, my church that I'd been a part of for 8 years. So I started going on Monday night, and Roxanne was there, and Rick Moyer were there, and that whole group. And they kind of just tucked me under their wing. And at that point, they were there for me because of what happened with Sam.
Church. Yeah, the church stuff. So your church wasn't there. You found this new group, and then what happened?
So then Roxanne invited us to go meet someone named Taryn and come to her house. And so I went really because I was super hungry for the Spirit, and I believed in prophecy, and this was only I knew that did as well at that time. And I don't know if you remember this. This wasn't that night. This was the very first time I went. You called me out that night too.
Really?
And you said that. Yeah. You don't talk about it much because I don't think you remember.
I don't. When I'm in the Spirit, I don't really remember things a lot. So what happened? Did we lose it for a second?
The dream is here, because I dream all the time, and pointed to me, and the Lord is going to pull this pain out. You had no clue what I had just gone through with my husband and losing everything and our journey. And I still had a lot of pain in me just from that, But you said He was going to pull it out, and He was going to bring me into new. And He's like, He's not going to give you the whole picture right now, but He's doing more in you. And you said I had like the spirit of like Lisa Bevere on me, and and fire. And it was a mighty word for me because I was really broken. So then it just like the next time you were in town, of course I'm Catholic. I kind of just happened to mention it because she saw my journey. I mean, we're living in the house, and there was times where she would want to drive on, but there was times for her own. The moment that God, I kind of like said, hey, do you want to kind of come with me? And she said yes. And I was like, oh my word, like the God is going to do something.
Right.
And my faith was little, Karen. I believed that I was hoping she'd get a word. Like, just give her a word, guy, you know.
Right.
But anyway, we went and it was at the end, and you were going to just lay hands on people, and you got to her, and you were trying to get ready to go. It's been a long night and stuff, but you got to her, and the Spirit, I guess, showed you. It wasn't that you knew before, because you said that.
Yeah, I was trying to get out of there. I was just trying to finish praying for everybody because it was a big room with a lot of people. And I was literally thinking, I was like, I'm tired. Let me just touch everybody, and I'm going home. But when I got to your mom, the demon manifested immediately.
And so you saw in her, and just by the grace of God, and thank you to you that you were not going to let her leave with it. And so you began to cast out the demon, and teach us at the same time and pull us in and understand what was happening, because I don't think the group had really seen that yet either necessarily.
No, they hadn't. They had not.
And what was different, And what was different was there was one kind of round of it, and you were trying to get my mom to say, like, break it off herself, but the demon had her by the neck.
Right.
She couldn't even get the words Jesus out. But so there was kind of one round of deliverance, and then her arms kind of started twitching, and you saw, like, it wasn't gone. There was another one, or I don't know how you would say that. There was another one, I guess, and that was the spirit of witchcraft.
Right. And that's when I called it out, and then you were like, we don't do that anymore. I was like, okay, honey. I was like, she's okay. I said, I'm getting ready to remove it from her right now. And that's when even though you guys started praying and you had not doing it anymore, I had to come in and break the power of witchcraft and command it to come out. And then it was broke.
That's key for a family. That's big key.
Yeah. Because for them it was normal. And especially in Catholic, there's so much superstitions and so much, like, when you talk about the sage, it's so funny because I'm like, yep, I remember the sage, growing up. Just things. That's, the saints and all the things that the love, the Catholic brings in a spirit of witchcraft, but also there was, like, true witchcraft, like, on purpose, bringing in, whether it was card reading or just things that my it doesn't matter now, but, it was so rooted, and my mother had lived so many years under this heaviness because she was always angry and always did so much business, just so many things. So she was, like, delivered. I mean, my mom's countenance, everything changed after that. She felt free, and it began our journey. And so we after that we were warring a lot to keep the freedom because the enemy wanted to come back. I don't know if I ever told you that, but in our house after that, there was just a lot. But God had shown us a lot. So that's why we played the Demons Rule. What is that?
Prayers that Rout Demons.
Prayers that Root for Demons.
Prayers that Rout Demons.
We would just play that in the house, and we just rout demons. We did a lot of things.
We even broke
the Lord, and we learned more.
Fear that was there. Remember Gavin's house? I flew there, and the three of us pray over that, and we broke it. My aunt
three of us
totally.
Then that was what was beautiful. Is now there was three of us: my mom, my cousin Francesca, and me. That, like, we were like, Francesca knew she had to come to us, and the three of us gathered, and we laid hands on our family's pictures, and we prayed over them because we knew this was, like, it wasn't just for us; it was for all of them.
Yeah, it was freedom for the whole family.
And so we've just been, and so we've just been since then really just standing on it. I mean, it's been a journey.
Well, when I saw your mother,
it's not like we're,
from the time that I did the deliverance that day with your mother, I saw her. I've seen you guys transform and change completely. It's awesome that I'm gathering this testimony. I got both of them recording right now, so you guys are sharing, and it's so awesome because, like, families don't know. You and your cousin stood in the gap for your family, and all of a sudden everybody started getting free, and your husband started getting free. But when I saw your mother last, she did not look like the same person at all. Like, tell me, so from the second that we casted the spirit of witchcraft and that generational curse off the family, what are the things that you noticed that were different about your mother, and how did it affect your family?
Okay. She started on a journey. She started understanding about forgiveness. She started, and the Lord had to do this, that like she was recognizing the places where she wasn't forgiving. So her heart became softer. Talk about pulling out the stony heart and giving her a heart of flesh. Because my mom would hold grudges, and my mom had a hard heart, and that's how I grew up. But she was softer, and her heart started loving, and she didn't want to be the same person. She didn't want these things, and she started having a spiritual awareness of, oh, this came in because of my family generational stuff. So then she was decreeing and declaring herself and breaking off curses and laying hands on herself for healing to so many spiritual infirmity and has been inherited because of this stuff. And she's in a lot of pain a lot, so we were laying hands. So she just became a spiritual being overnight. Her lens was different of how she would see things too. She sensed things in the spirit, and before she thought those were the things that were cultish.
Wow.
It wasn't her normal. Yeah.
The normal was not cultish. The normal darkness and negativity and anger and superstitions, like everything in our family, we laugh because, like, if you go outside, you're gonna catch a cold. If you do this, you're gonna get cancer. I mean, everything has something attached to it. That's just how we go.
Yeah. And so like you broke all those. Yeah. Like, freedom.
Oh, yeah. And so now, like, her lens is like, this is spiritual. This is the enemy. Okay, so now we take the tools, because I've done sozo with her, and so now we like, nope, I nailed that on the cross. Nope, that's gone. Like, we're aware. We're warring together. She's so tender-hearted. So my mom has always been a giver and a server, and she loved taking care of people. But it was always with a hard heart. So she couldn't receive the blessing in it. It was I don't know how to explain it.
Right.
But now she's just, her love is so tender, and now it's out of purity, and her anger is falling off her. Her joy, like peace. My mom worries about worry because that was from control and the fear. I'm talking like with living there with my 3 kids. Don't let the kids go outside to play. Don't let them run. Don't do this. They can't do everything.
The fear. So she doesn't have fear anymore.
And so joy is coming back in. Like, my family is not operated in joy because there was no freedom.
So now I saw her and I was like, whoa. She was so different when I came to the house. I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't even recognize it was the same person from when I did the deliverance.
That's so funny. I guess I would have never even thought that as an outsider, like it would look different, because I see her every day. But it's just been so beautiful. I remember someone telling me when I first got saved, and my mom was my prayer request all the time. Like, I want my mom saved, because my mom's the only family I've ever had here.
Right.
And even with that, I've had to learn to break off that soul tie, because that's, it's been an interesting journey. But like, I love her so much. And someone told me one time, you just have to maybe accept that your mama may never get saved.
And you did not accept that. Like, the fact that you actually believed, and you and your cousin stood in the gap. It was 2 of you guys that agreed. And then when I came in the picture, remember, God has to send a person. Well, first of all, your church couldn't have delivered you. You know why? Because they don't operate in deliverance.
I know.
And so they're going to pray for people to pray for you that don't know how to handle those things. So people have real issues that they need to be delivered from. So like when you guys get on these one-on-ones like we're doing right now, if I can see, you need a seer, you need someone who's able to decree and make a change in the spirit. And so I was able to see it, command it, break it, and then speak the blessing. Remember I said, now speak blessings over her. We spoke the blessing and canceled the curse. And that uprooted out of your family. So now you got whole families transformed. Like, so how did that lead to your husband coming then in and getting his healing to where you guys, because your testimony is fire.
He's been watching my journey privately, like seeing, and then our wounding and me rising only through God. Like, divorce was never an option. You know, like, no, like, you're a person before you're a pastor. Like, we're not ever meant to be separated. It didn't matter what he did. It was never about what he did. It was never, God used that to pull us out. Honestly, to pull us out, not only to free us from ourselves, but to pull us out even of the church, because we couldn't grow there anymore.
Right.
Like, that season of grace was done there.
Right.
So it's really interesting now looking back, right? But, and so he watched the grace that the Lord gave me for him, right? And so,
the enemy does not like this testimony. Go ahead, you're back.
So, as he was watching, and we're living at my mom's house, and he's kind of watching my mom change, and which to him, like, my mama was never going to change. So I needed to live with my mama. It was not easy for him to live in the house. I'm not going to lie. There's lots of layers. But so he's watching this, and he knew the people. He knows Rick Moyer, and he knows some of those people. And again, Aaron, it was just one of those passive, like, hey, do you want to, like, maybe come with me? Because Sam wasn't fully operating in the spiritual things either. Like,
right.
He also thought some of the things I was doing was like, because he didn't get, his theology hadn't changed yet.
Yeah.
He was still under, like,
religion.
It was religion. And so,
but as long as one person is in the spirit, like you and your cousin being in the spirit actually was able to unlock the rest of the family. You don't know that, but because the two of you guys agreed, if one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight, you were able to put the 10,000 to flight. Now, you guys were able to unlock the rest of the family. So now you got free, then your mom gets free. Now your husband's watching, your mom will transport and change. So now you invite him to the class that night. And so what happened that night for the freedom? Because, I mean, for you guys to have mental illness and all this stuff going on. Hold on just a second. One of my other line just fell off. For you guys to have all those things going on, it was like, yeah, somebody help me. No, everybody's all doing something in the house.
One of those
somebody come. People were like, hold on, let me try this other one. I'm sorry, I'm moving. So I can try my other phone. Lazarus. Anybody? Somebody. Ask Kiki to come here and plug my phone in, please, baby. Every phone is there. Here, thank you for plugging it in, baby. Plug it in right here.
I know, I'm like scared to move because I don't want to lose connection.
Go, child. No Christmas shopping right now. I have to prepare. He told me I have to prepare. You know, these kids, they know those good words. Prepare.
What's funny though, it's like I was the weird one first, and then Anna came along, and we both became the weird ones, and then my aunt now is in it. So it's like it's kind of spreading around, you know. It's being so beautiful because we all weird.
But he said you are a peculiar person, so you guys came out from among them, and you guys came out, and so you were able to impact the rest of the family because you couldn't do it while you were, Lassie, come here, while you were in there, because you had to be different, because so that opened up the door for everybody else.
So yeah, let's take it.
And it was crazy because
Laz, go ahead.
Sam came to me when it happened.
Sam and I had the spirit, so when it started happening with Cheska, we knew what she was experiencing. It's not that we didn't believe in the gift, but we knew she was experiencing darkness. We were like, we need to get her a Bible, and we need to get her to church.
Right.
So it wasn't that we didn't believe in that. I did, especially, but I had no understanding of how to guide someone else, but I knew how to get like, she needed Jesus and the truth because she was being pulled in a whole different, like, because there was crystals involved and all this other stuff, and it was like, that's not Jesus, that's not what the word says. So I knew enough of the word to begin to guide her, but then it transformed her direction, so her gifts would be open with light, not the dark, which was, thank you, Jesus. So with Sam flew down to meet with Cheska and took her to a church, gave her a Bible, and Sam was a pastor, so he knew enough scripture. Even though there was religion there, he still knew the word. And we were able to get Cheska steered, I guess, in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then the two of us linked, like our spirits linked. linked because then we could speak spiritually together. And she was the first person I had what I had been learning with, because I had no family enter any. So I was like, but it says pursue prophecy. It says desire this. It says all these things. And I was just so hungry, but I had no one to like
I think it's time with your
bounce
dreams
stuff
too.
off
Like,
with, or
remember I told you you dream a lot? Yeah, you dreamer.
Well,
So
and you sent me the first dream book. That awakened so much. I was like,
right.
oh my gosh. But with Sam, so yeah, I just happened to invite him kind of casually, and he said, yeah, which again, that's God.
Amen.
I think he was hesitant.
But see, he had to see a change in the people and the family.
But,
they had to see a change in somebody, though. See, men really said, don't win the men with your words, win it with your actions. So he's watching your mom change, he's watching you change, and he had to get his hope built back up. You know.
And if my mom could change, that would be the thing that he could see, like, because my mom. Yeah. So he went and you taught, and then I think it was the end again where you were going to give a word and you had us stand together and hold hands, and you still didn't know anything that we had walked through, but you had some really key things, like you saw him. It was your wording. You said, I see you going back into ministry. You're not going to like this. And you did not even know he had come out of ministry.
No.
But at that time, he hadn't been healed in that place yet to even be able to accept that he wanted to go back to ministry, because he was still just trying to get regular jobs, and we were struggling. I mean, we'd been a year and a half with no jobs.
Right.
And, living with my mom and stuff. So you confirmed that he was going to go back into ministry, and that you saw kids around him, which right now he's the youth pastor. That's one of his roles here.
Wow.
And he was a youth pastor before. That's what we did. But, like, he came back to that. And then you said, too, you said, like, you saw a frame around us or something like that. And then you said you saw people from other places.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't just in Oregon. And that I remember sticking out to me so much, because I was like, where would we, like, no one knows us. Like, where would we go? Like, but we were so at that point ready for a change and needed the hand of God to move in our lives, because he couldn't get a job.
Right. But thank God he couldn't get a job, because remember, I was testifying about when I was trying to get a job. You have to do that. I was trying to get a job. Hurry up, bitch. I was trying to get a job, and God did not release me to try to get the job. I mean, I was the one to get hired, and it was, if he gave me that job, I would have never ended up in California. So if you got a job, you guys would have never ended up in Maryland. So you guys
every door, and we knew that, like, the Lord had shown me that every door that had shut, I knew it was showing Stan that's not the direction you're supposed to go in. But God has always told me it's not up to me to change my husband, that, like, my words won't change him. So I just had to let him journey. So he kept knocking on doors. He kept going through interviews, and nothing was opening. But it took another voice. When your voice came in to say that, I think it shifted his heart. It was like, okay. So then from that moment on, Terrence, we started working on our ministry. We put our whole way. At that point, his heart shifted to accept that we were going to be back in ministry. And we were like, we knew it wasn't going to look the same. So we decided to do our own. And so we started to try to do this nonprofit. We put our website together. It's Easter at this point. So we were there in February.
February?
It was only a few months after. So it was Easter, and God said, Easter service, they called us up at our church to pray for our church, Sam and I.
Right.
We hadn't got in front of the church since we had left the church.
So there was like not a restoration process at the church to try to restore you guys? It was just like, no, you're done?
No, this is our new church.
Your new church. Got it.
We had been plugged in at a new church that did move in the spirit. After I found you and all that stuff, that moves in the Spirit for this year and a half.
Yeah.
And so, but it wasn't to do ministry, even though we wanted to. God kept saying, sit down. This is your healing season. Just sit down. Just listen, learn. So, but it was Easter, and the pastor looks back at us, and he's like, hey, I want you guys to come up and pray for us, pray for our church. And God has been telling me, be ready.
Right.
So we get up, we pray for the church, and God said to us, he told my spirit, he said, it's time to release your website. It didn't matter if it was finished, what it looked like. It wasn't about the website. He's like, I can't release to you unless you release what's in your hands. So that was Sunday, we prayed for the church. Monday, I released the website. Tuesday, we got the call from Maryland.
Wow.
So it happened. Your word went out. It wasn't much. That was only like 2 months after, because Easter was in March, April. So, yeah, and then we got the call, and then it was expedited. We came out to visit it. We knew. So then this was an interesting thing, Karen. It was a Foursquare church out here. And that was a church he took us away from, right?
Right.
And so when I wanted to go back to the Beaverton one, God said, don't go back to Egypt. It's not what I have for you right now. But
no.
So when this one came up, I was like, Lord, I'm confused, because at first I thought no about Maryland, because I was like, I'm confused because it's Foursquare. And the Spirit told me this. He said, because I was like, Lord, you said don't go back to Egypt. And he said, it's only Egypt if you're the ones wandering in the wilderness. But if I've called you to be a Moses, you have a different assignment.
Yeah.
And it's to set people free.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the domination. It's not about that. Hi, baby. I know you guys waiting for me. Okay. You want to say hi to Miss Karen? Say hi, Prophetess.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, Jessica. Good.
Hi, Josiah.
Hi. It's Jessica.
Hi, Saya.
You too.
Oh, so cute. Yay.
I'll be there in a second. So, and I expedited, and that was only something the Spirit could have told me, because I was still caught up in like denomination. And God has just showed us so much. It doesn't matter. It's about the souls. It's about setting people free. Like, you're going on assignment, and the assignment can be in the grocery store. That's church. The assignment's my cousin. The assignment's my son. The assignment's wherever we go. It's what God puts in us to do. And so, it's just been so good. Now, you know, if I'm asking for any direction now, it's more like, Lord, establish it, like, because Sam's obviously on staff, but like I have my own heart's desire to do some stuff on the side for healing, for souls, like using.
Oh yeah, you're gonna do it all, but you're gonna do it in your you're gonna do all that, but you're gonna be in your creative thing too. You're gonna be totally doing your creative stuff. So, okay. So
I want to do it with the heart.
You're gonna be able to do it with creativity. God is actually going to put you on blast. Like you're built to actually be, you're built to do this. You're built. No, are you there? You there?
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't hear any of that. Sorry.
You're built to impact certain people, and you're built to, like, I don't know why, but like it's almost like people who are like high class celebrity type people, that you're actually built to do this. You know, so you are going to be doing your purpose too. The fact that two of you guys came together and were able to set your family free in such a way. Remember, it's about connection. You guys were able to connect. So you guys are able to connect.
I was going to say bye to my cousin.
So you guys were able to connect. No, it's okay. You guys were able to connect with a person who was able to walk you into their next step of freedom. That's what was key. You know? So you guys have to know that you made the impact.
there's so much more that I wish. I mean, there's so much. It's like our family's journey has been. Like you can make this up, and I love my cousin so much. It's been such spiritual eyes for me when I get lost, and it's beautiful.
Right.
Like, I mean, you can put this in 1 hour, really.
I know it's so much. It's so much of a great testimony of truth, of deliverance, of healing, and continued healing and deliverance, and that's what I really love about your guys' story, because it impacted so many people. It translated you to another state. I love the fact that God even sent me to your state to come see you afterwards. That was the showing your covering, you know. That was showing your covering, and your covering is what was needed. You needed covering, spiritual covering, to be able to unlock you and to help you.
Amen.
I want to see you this Thursday. That's okay.
What? Oh yeah. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. You can see me. I want you to come to my church, all that good stuff, because this freedom journey you guys have been so awesome.